Hey all, this is Paul W., editor for Range Rival. For the drill of the month, we're doing a shotgun drill of my own creation, so creatively called the Paul W. Shotgun Drill. I'll show you what you'll need to shoot the drill, show you my demonstration of it, and give you some pointers too. There are some unique considerations for this drill, and I'll explain those at the end too. To perform the Paul W. drill, you'll need a shotgun chambered in either 12, 16, or 20 gauge, and a shot timer. The target used is the standard USPSA torso target, with the C and A zones being the valid scoring areas. This is a 5-round drill, and you can use birdshot, buckshot, or slugs for shooting it. This must be a standard loading, so no really weak powder puff type cowboy action shooting loads, and no specialty loads like dragon's breath or flashbangs. It has to be a fairly normal load to perform this drill. The starting position for this drill is pretty simple. We begin with 5 rounds loaded into the shotgun at low ready with the safety on. We're shooting this from 7 yards, but it is our muzzle that is at 7 yards, not our footwork. On beep, shooter raises their shotgun and fires 5 rounds into the USPSA target. Only hits in the A and C zones will count as valid hits. However, the wad tearing outside of the A and C zones is permitted, as the wad is not part of your actual payload in the shotgun. The passing conditions are pretty simple. Just complete the drill clean. For handicaps, they go as follows. For my demo drill, I'm shooting my 19-inch improved cylinder Beretta A300 and used a Fiocchi 9-pellet single-lot buck loading. Let's take a look at that video demonstration right now. Alrighty, showing my USPSA target here. I'm shooting on a clean target, but if you have a target like this one that you've already done a run or two of the drill on, I would recommend just using 8.5 by 11 printer paper to cover it up, and then if you need to, you can outline the scoring there. I'm not too concerned about people being able to see where the C zone is here. I'm more so not wanting people to have to run through 10 USPSA backers for this drill. So good, clean target here. We're gonna move back to 7 yards. Muzzle's going to start at 7 yards, not the shooter. We're doing this in the effort to try to be as fair as possible here. So muzzle at 7, safety is on the shotgun. You start safety on, starting on beep here. Alrighty, 5 rounds fired there. Shotgun is empty, locked open, 180. And we can see basically all of my hits landed within the A zone. I have 4 pellets here in the C zone, but a good clean run. For your video submission, make sure to show your target before shooting so that we can see that you are shooting on a clean or pastied up target. We also want to see a single take of the drill, not an edited, chopped up video. How about some pointers for shooting the Paul W. shotgun drill? For your target, this is going to be a fairly destructive drill. I would recommend bringing standard printer paper with you and using that to patch the holes that you'll make when trying this drill. Generally speaking, I managed to get about 6 to 8 runs of the Paul W. shotgun drill out of each of my USPSA targets using that patching method. You can still use your pasties if you'd like to for smaller spots, but I found that just the regular 8.5 by 11 paper did a much better job at patching up the holes from this drill. For your shotgun, I would recommend patterning it. Patterning is a fairly simple thing, and this is the act of seeing where a specific load hits to your sights on the shotgun and how much it opens up at a set distance. Patterning your shotgun will allow you to see how much wiggle room you have for precision in this drill, and it may make you want to try out a tighter performing load. The last pointer is pretty simple. Shooting shotguns in volume is quite fatiguing, so make sure that you're actually taking some good breaks between runs of the drill. This is not meant to be a torturous, self-flagellatory thing. It's meant to be a fun online competition. Don't wear yourself out doing this drill. Now, how about those considerations I mentioned at the start of the video? Well, there are 3 big ones here, and they are the round count, the starting position, and the wad for scoring. For the round count, I specifically chose 5 rounds, as to make this drill open for more shotguns to use. The original drill idea was a shotgun bill drill, which would have been a 6-round drill, but most common shotguns have a 4-round magazine tube. I wanted this to be open to as many shotguns as possible, so dropping it from 6 rounds to 5 meant that all of the shotguns that hold 4+1 rounds would be able to get used for it. The muzzle at 7 yards is another consideration. I wanted to level the playing field for folks showing up with longer or shorter shotguns. When doing handgun drills, a slightly longer handgun really isn't getting you all that much closer to the target, but a shotgun that is a foot or a foot and a half longer certainly would. The last consideration is the wad. The wad is part of the shotgun shell and acts as a stabilizer for the shot cup, which is the component that holds your birdshot or buckshot before it leaves the shotgun. The wad separates from the actual payload by a certain distance, but that means that there will be a good chance that it'll end up somewhere on or in the target. If you've done a lot of shotgun shooting, you've probably found your remaining wads somewhere downrange later on down the line. The wad isn't a part of the payload itself, and I'm not counting wad hits on the target outside of the scoring zone as a failed run of this drill. At 7 yards, I've personally found that the wad generally goes right through the hole made by the payload, falls short between you and the target, or hits somewhere on the target totally separate from the payload itself. This consideration is going to require honesty from both you as the shooter and me as the drill organizer, and I want to be able to say that we know that the hole in the target is from the wad or from the payload. Generally speaking, the wad holes will be more ragged than what your birdshot or buckshot's going to be, and they won't have those consistent round holes from the birdshot or buckshot near them. I'll throw in a photo right now of an example of a wad hit on one of my USPSA targets, but it's something that's generally pretty obvious. Depending on your shotgun and the payload that you use, there's a decent chance that the wad itself may actually get stuck in the cardboard, which I've had when doing my patterning over the years. And that's the Paul W. shotgun drill. It was a fun one to come up with, and I'm vain enough to name it after myself. In my own rationale, my name, Paul W., is 5 letters, and it's a 5-round drill, so I thought it might be a little bit easier to keep that in mind. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see your submissions. Speaking of submissions, what was the best run that I was able to shoot during my time workshopping this drill? Alrighty, showing up my pasty target, piece of paper. I have some pasties where the wads came through in various spots. Moving back to 7 yards. Again, we're starting muzzle at 7, not the shooter. And low ready, safety on, all of that stuff. I've done about 15 of these today, so I'm getting pretty fatigued from all the shotgun shooting, but I'm enjoying them. I don't really usually shoot shotguns this quickly, so it's kind of fun. Excuse me, starting on beep. Okay. Again, my cadence for this is picking up way more because once I have the first or second shot down, I can just kind of do the push-pull technique, brace the shotgun, and go boom, 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 boom. That one felt like a 160. 149, so my goal today was a 150. I have the texturing from my shotgun on my hands to show it. So 149 up to first shot was 0.75 seconds. I want to get that down to like half a second. I feel like that's pretty slow, but this is my first day of really workshopping this drill, so have to find out where the times are going to be. 122, 120, 15 and 0.15, and then 0.17. So my splits were all in the 2s, and then they moved into the high teens, mid-teens. I'll take it. Thanks for watching.